Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another instrument of change. Now, we are here this evening to do some practical music. There's another session that will teach you about theory, and you should also check in on those sessions about theory. But this one is about practical, the hands-on, how to get into playing the piano. Now, I will be focusing on church music, how you can play church music, how some of the things that you need to look out for when you're reading the hymnal and the music in the hymnal. And we are going to be doing things a little bit different if you have been doing formal music with other teachers. I am going to be going straight to the heart of the matter. The Bible tells us to make a joyful noise unto the Lord. Well, we are going to make a joyful noise, but that noise is going to sound like music. So, let me introduce you to the keyboard. Now, I am going to pretend that everyone who is listening has no clue what it is, what a keyboard is, what music is. So I'm going to take you right down to the basic, that even the smallest child can learn. Now, if you look at the keyboard has several notes or several keys. Each of them make a different sound. There are no two sounds that are exactly alike. So they're all different. And if you would look, you notice that you have two colors here. You have black keys and you have white keys. Now, this is a funny thing. The white keys get their names from the black keys, and the black keys gets their name from the white keys. So, let us learn what are the names of the keys. Okay, so if you look at the keyboard carefully, you'll find that the black notes or the black keys are situated in two different types of groups, two different groups. Can you tell me what those two groups are? Look carefully and tell me. I'm listening. Very good. I heard it right there. So we have a set of two black keys and a set of three black keys. Then those three black keys are followed by two black keys. Then three black keys, then two black keys, then three black keys, then two black keys, and it goes on that way forever. So you always have two black keys, followed by three black keys, followed by two black keys, and so on. Except sometimes at the end of the keyboard, they might run out of space. So what would have been three black keys, they would only have space for maybe one or two black keys on either side. But when you look on the middle part of the keyboard, you'll always see two black keys, followed by three black keys, followed by two black keys, and so on. Now, let us discuss the names of the keys. All right, we are going to start with the two black keys and the white notes that are close to the two black keys. Now, if you notice where the two black keys are, to the left-hand side of the two black keys, or the two black notes, you have a note, and that note is called C. So, let's start with that note. And that note is C. And if we should describe where C is, it would be C is to the, tell me, that's correct, left of the two black keys. So C is to the left of the two black keys. Now, it doesn't matter how long the keyboard is. Wherever the two black keys are, C is to the left of the two black keys. Wherever it is on the keyboard, to the left of the two black keys, you'll find C. Two black keys to the left, C. Two black keys to the left, C. Two black keys to the left, C. And so on. Now, let's look at the key beside that. In the middle of the two black keys, you'll find D. So wherever the two black keys are in the middle, you'll find D. So if we should write it out, D is in the middle of the two black keys. So wherever the two black keys are, in the middle, you will find D. Now the next key up, can anyone guess what that key is? That key is E. And E is to the right of the two black keys. So our next note that we'll learn is E. E is to the right of the two black keys. So far, the notes that are associated with the two black keys are C to the left, D in the middle, and E to the right. Are you seeing a pattern here? C, D, and E. Now, for those who will learn very fast, you'll notice that this is a part of the alphabet. So if you should go backwards from C, you'll find what comes before C would be B, and what comes before B would be A. So some of you would learn it that way and know that you start out here at A, B, C, D, E, and then you'll have F and G, and then you start over at A and B, and it will continue like that. But for the rest of us, just like myself, let us go through what is associated now with the three black keys. Very good. Now, to the left of the three black keys, the note you have there is, you guessed it, F. So F is to the left of the three black keys. So here we have F to the left of the three black keys. The note going up from F is G. Now let's try and describe it. It's not like the two black keys where you have only one note in the middle of the two black keys. No, we have two notes in the middle of the three black keys. So the next one beside F is G, and G is in the middle to the left of the three black keys. So G is in the middle, the middle to the left of the three black keys. G is in the middle to the left of the three black keys. The next one up is, as we discussed just before now, would be A. So A is also in the middle, just like G, but it's in the middle to the right. So let's write that down. A is in the middle, but this time to the right of the three black keys. And of course, our last note would be B. B now is not in the middle anymore. We're now to the right of the three black keys. So B is to the right of the three black keys. Good. So let's review what we just learned. We just learned all the notes on the keyboard. We learned C is to the left of the two black keys. D is in the middle of the two black keys. E is to the right of the two black keys. F is to the left of the three black keys. G is in the middle to the left of the three black keys. A is in the middle to the right of the three black keys. B is to the right of the three black keys, and C, where we started from, to the left of the two black keys. Now, those of you who know that song would know that that is a very familiar song. Let's listen to it once again. Now that is the major scale, or for the more advanced among us, the Dorian scale. Now, when you're playing music, the building blocks for music would be the scales, arpeggios, and chords. We're going to learn about, especially scales and chords, how we use them to play music. And what you'll find out is that there's a lot of repetition in these scales, the arpeggios, and the chords. It's just like doing the same thing over and over again. And once you have learned the pattern, once you have learned the language, it's very, very easy to do, and to change keys and to just have fun, to worship God. This is why we are here. All right. So, you just learned the C major scale. So what you need to do is that you need to practice the C major scale. Now, there are fingering or finger patterns that we use to play them. Don't worry about that yet. Later on, we're going to learn those finger patterns. But for now, just learn how it sounds. Even if you use one finger and play it, get used to that sound, because that sound you are going to be using a whole lot. And everything that we'll be teaching will be based on that. Now, let's talk a little bit more. I hope you have written this down, because we are going to be moving on to something else. Now, in the theory lessons, you would have learned about intervals. And in our intervals, we are going to discuss how is it we name now the black notes. Very quickly. Now, the first interval that we want to talk about is the semitone, or some people call it the half a half step. For our purpose, we are going to stick to the semitone. What is a semitone? The semitone is the shortest distance between any two sounds on the keyboard. Shortest distance. So if you could look here, let's look at C. We learned about C, and C is to the left of the two black keys. The shortest distance from C going to the right. If you notice, there's a note that is just beside C, which is D. That's not the shortest distance or the shortest way to travel, because there's another note that comes in between it, and that note is a black note. Now, from C to that black note, it's called a semitone or a half step. From C to D would be two semitones or a whole step. Now, we have another name for two semitones, and that one is called a tone, or of course, a whole step. So two semitones make a tone. Now we're just be concentrated on those today. So let's go. From C, and we're taking that semitone travel now to the right, we'll get to this black note. That note is called C sharp. So, what will we say about a sharp? A sharp which this is a sign for the sharp, is moving one semitone to the right. The sharp is moving one semitone to the right. Okay, very good. Now if we move two semitones to the right, that's from C to C sharp would be one semitone to the right, and from C sharp to D would be another semitone to the right. That's two semitones are a tone. That will tell us that D is a tone higher than C. So D is a tone higher than C. C is a tone lower than D. C sharp is a semitone higher than C. So what will we say about the same note if it's lower than D? So we have D, but we move one semitone now to the left. That is called a flat. A flat is moving one semitone to the left. So what we'll find is that C sharp and D flat is the same note. That's called enharmonic notation. Just to tell you that big word just means that every note on the keyboard has more than one name. So moving from C a semitone to the right, that's C sharp, and D, a semitone to the left, that's D flat. Now that we know that, let us name all the keys. So we're going to name all the sharps all at once. So C, moving a semitone to the right, that's C sharp. Then we go to D, moving a semitone to the right, that's D sharp. Now, we get to E, and there's no black note to the right of E, so we're going to leave E sharp out of the question for right now. But we are going to move to F. We come back to E sharp. Go to F, a semitone to the right of F, F sharp. G, a semitone to the right of G, you got it, G sharp. A semitone to the right of A sharp. And of course, we have B, no black key to the right of B, so we'll come back to B sharp. Let's now name the flats. We'll start at B. B, a semitone to the right, to the left of B is B flat. We'll go to A semitone to the left of A flat. G, a semitone to the left of G, that's G flat. F, we have no black notes to the left of F, so we'll come back to that. E, a semitone to the left of E, E flat. D, a semitone to the left of D, D flat. And we're back to C. Let's do another review. C sharp is the same thing as D flat. D sharp is the same thing as E flat. F sharp is the same thing as G flat. A sharp is the same thing as, G sharp is the same thing as A flat. And A sharp is the same thing as B flat. So we name all the black notes. Now let's get into a little troublesome area. Let's go back to C. If we move a semitone to the left of C, we find B. So, do we have a note called C flat? Take a guess. Yes, you are on the right. You are right. There is a note called C flat, and that note is B. C flat and B is the same thing. And you'll learn about that when we get into our scales, which will be shortly. So, C flat is the same thing as B. Now let's go to B. Let's move to the right of B. A semitone to the right of B is C. Do we have a B sharp? Yes, we do. I see everyone gets it now. So a semitone to the right of B is C, and C is the same thing as B sharp. Let's go over to F. And let's move a semitone to the left of F. We find E. E is the same thing as F flat. And of course, if we go to E and we move to the right of E, one semitone, we find F. F is the same thing as E sharp. And we are going to learn when we use these different names shortly. Now the question is, why is it that we have to learn all these keys? They look so complicated. I have to learn all these black notes, and I want to learn this thing quickly. Well, if you want to be a professional musician, you have to learn to play in every key. It was surprising when I met musicians that could not play in every key. Musicians will see a song written in the key of E, which has 4 sharps, and transpose it to E flat because it's easier for them to play in flats than sharps. When we are done, you're going to learn to play in every single key that there is. Why do we need to learn to play in every key? Because somebody might be singing and they feel comfortable in the key of C. And they're comfortable. And you learn the song in C and you're good. And then you come across somebody else that sings much higher and that person wants to sing in E flat. And you may find somebody else that wants, it's a little bit too high for them and they want to play in D. And what you'll find is that you still will find songs or keys that you are more comfortable playing in certain keys and so on. That's fine. But you must be competent in all the keys, every single key. What you'll also find is that in our hymn book, the songs are written in different keys also. And we are going to learn how to play in all these keys. So, let me give you a preview of what is coming up in our second segment. Second segment, we are going to learn how to play every single scale. Remember, the scale is one of the building blocks for music. You're going to learn to play efficiently and as an expert in every scale. For now, we are going to only play in one octave of the scale, and I'll tell you what an octave is. And if you were visiting the applied theory class, you would have known that what the octave is. So we are going to learn how to play in just the major scales today. And once we learn that, you are going to be doing very good. So let's just play, if you're happy and you know it, one more time while we go to the break, and we'll come right back.
The next person in line, your friend at school or your co-worker, may have COVID-19 and not know because they have no symptoms. You, on the other hand, could be hospitalized for 2 months or more if you become infected. Is it worth it? Stay socially connected, but keep the physical distance. Stay 6 feet away and avoid a hospital stay. COVID-19 is not over. Protect yourself while protecting others. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
All right, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. All right, now, in this section, we are going to learn about the scales and how the scales are constructed. Now, let's look at the keyboard. We first learned in our first part of the session that sound is called the major scale. So let's write it out. It started with C, then it went to D, then E, then F, G, A, B, C. Now, let's work with me here. And I guarantee you that this is going to be fun. Especially for those musicians that struggle over learning the keys. And they find a problem just learning the keys and playing in every key. Now, we learned before that a semitone is the shortest distance. And we learned that between, if we should look at the piano, between C and C sharp is a semitone. From C sharp to D is a semitone. And we also learned that from C to D, then we can call that a tone, and a tone is two semitones. So, if we should travel from C to D, which is two semitones, C, C sharp to D, two semitones, we can safely say between C to D, here we find a tone. That trip is called a tone. Let's look from D to E. It's the same thing. From D to D sharp is one semitone. From D sharp to E is another semitone. That is called a tone. So from D to E is also a tone. From E to F, we notice there are no black keys in between, so that is already a semitone. So from E to F, it's a semitone. I heard that coming from the back of the class. So from E to F is a semitone. Now, from F to G, we have a sharp in between, or a flat, whichever you want to call it, either F sharp or G flat. So from F to G, it's a tone. One semitone from F to F sharp, and from F sharp to G, another semitone. So from F to G, it's a tone. So here, we have another tone. What happens from G to A? It's the same thing. G to G sharp or to A flat is a semitone, and from A flat to A, it's another semitone, so it's a tone. So we have a tone right here. What happens from A to B? A sharp, semitone. From A sharp to B, another semitone. That is it's a tone. So I have another tone here. What happens between B and C? B and C, no black notes, so it's already a semitone. You got that right. So we can say, very quickly, from C to C sharp, it's a tone. From C to D, sorry, it's a tone. D to E, another tone. E to F, a semitone. F to G, get it? A tone. From G to A, it's a tone. From A to B, another tone. From B to C, it's a semitone. So we can safely say that the scale, wherever you start the scale in and you play that pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, you will be able to play the scale. Very good. So, let's forget that this is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Let's give it another name. Let's call C 1. Call D 2. E 3. F 4. G 5. A 6. B 7. And back to C, which will be 8. So wherever we start, we call that one 1. And we go to the next note, we have to move a tone, and we call that one 2. And from 2 to 3 is another tone, 3 to 4 semitone, 4 to 5 tone, 5 to 6 tone, 6 to 7 tone, 7 to 8 a semitone. Now, I am going to move to our next scale, and let us test this theory to see if it's right. And this one, we'll call this the cycle of fifths. I'll put it in bracket. The cycle of fifths. When I say the cycle of fifths, we are going to go to number 5. We're going to jump to our next scale. We're going to start on number 5, which is G. So the first thing we need to do is to write out all the notes that will come in G. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. All the notes will come back, but we may be calling some of them different names. Now, get used to this sound. When you're playing the cycle of fifths, this is very, very important. This helps your hearing and your prediction of how intervals sound. So you'll play your scale. And that's your scale. But I want you to play it up and down. Remember, some people will play it and repeat the note at the top. For this teacher, I don't want you to repeat the note at the top. Just play all the way back down. So this is how you will play it. And if you're playing it over and over again, just to practice, you'll practice it this way. What you'll also find is that the more you practice it, the faster you get. So you'll start out slow-ish, and the more you practice, you'll get faster and faster and faster as you go along. Now, the next thing you do is to get to the fifth, you count up 5 in the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's your new scale. Now, if I were to play just the white notes as they appear, this is what it would sound like. And tell me if it sounded like the scale that you had before. Listen once again. Something is off. Something sounds wrong. So what we have to do is to go back to our tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Now, an easy way to play this is to play it in what we call Tetrachords. Now, what are Tetrachords? Tetrachords, this is not the theory class, but I have to give this to you so you'll understand it. It's 4 notes that is arranged in between them, tone, tone, semitone. So from the first note to the second one is a tone, from the second to the third is a tone, and from the third to the fourth is a tone, is a semitone. So let's do it again. Tone between the first and the second, tone between the second and the third, and between the third and the fourth, it's a semitone. Tone, tone, semitone. Now the mistake I see that people, I see students do, is that they are counting the tones and the semitones, and they start by saying tone. No. Remember, the tone is the distance from one point to another point. So you have to start with one note and then move a tone. So your second note is where you'll count the first tone. So first to second, tone, second to third, tone, 3 to 4, semitone. Then we take the right hand, and we separate the next tetrachord with a tone. So from this F, the next one will be G. And we'll do the same thing over. Tone, tone, semitone. Now, this is not the only way to learn it, but I'm also throwing this in the mix for those people who might find this way easy to learn. So what we'll do, we'll have a tetrachord in the left hand and a tetrachord in the right hand. And we'll just use these 4 fingers for now. And remember, it's tone, tone, semitone. Separate by a tone, 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 semitone. So let's do that. And that is how we'll cover it. Now, let's go to the next one. I will start on G. And we'll do the same thing. From G is now number 1 to number 2 is a tone. From 2 to 3, according to our chart, is another tone. And from 3 to 4, it's a semitone. From 4 to 5, it's a tone. 5 to 6, tone. 6 to 7, tone. Now, if I go to F from E, it will be a semitone. So my 6 is E. A tone will be the next one up, which will not be E. It will not be F, will be F sharp. And then from our 7 to 8 will be a semitone. So let's do that again. 1 to 2 on our chart, G to A is a tone. From A, we have to find another tone, which will take us to B. From B, now a semitone, so it's tone, tone, semitone. Then from our 4 to 5, it's a tone. That will take us to D. 5 to 6, tone, which will take us to E. 6 to 7, tone, which will take us to F sharp. And the last one from F sharp to G, that would be a semitone. And that is our new scale. So let's look at it. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. And this is where we had the problem, because if you notice, between E and F, it's a semitone. What we need here is a tone. So it cannot be F anymore. We have to raise F by one more semitone. That will take us to F sharp, and that is the G scale. So let's play that once again. So our new note is going to be F sharp. The only scale that has no sharps, no flaps, is the major scale of C. So here we can put 0 sharps or flats. Remember, this is a symbol for sharp, and this is a symbol for flat. So see, no sharps or flat. So when you look in your hymn book, what you'll notice is that there, at the beginning of the music, you'll see no sharps or flat there. If you look at some other music, you'll see some sharps, some flats, some sharps elsewhere, or flats. And there you have a sharp. Now, when you see no sharps or flats, that is C. Now, in the key of G, we have one sharp. So, G, one sharp. Now that we're getting the principle, I'm going to move a little bit faster. So, if you look at hymn number 523 from the Adventist hymn book, you'll see that there's a sharp at the beginning. That is called the key signature. The key signature tells you what scale to play in. So that is the G scale, or the key of G. So let's go with our principle. Our principle says that we're going to the number 5. Number 5 is D. Or when you're playing it, you count up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. D. So D is our next scale up. D, and we'll write out the musical alphabet, because all the notes, all the letters must be represented in the musical alphabet. So we have E, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. The same thing applies. The same thing applies. We start on D, then we move. Come now, students. From 1 to 2, it's a tone. From 2 to 3, it's a tone. Okay, so let's go again. From 1 to 2, if you move a tone to the right of D, we find E. And that's fine. To the right of E, we find F sharp. So we have to bring back F sharp right here, because we have to keep tone, tone, and then from F sharp to G, it's already a semitone. So tone to the first note, which is E. From 2 to 3, a tone. And then from 3 to 4, a semitone. That's already there. Then from 4 to 5, tone. From 5 to 6, tone. From 6 to 7, a tone. So we have to raise it again to the C sharp. And then from 7 to 8, it's a semitone. So let's look at it again. We realize that when we are moving from B to C, we need to find a tone. But remember here, from B to C was a semitone. So we have to raise C, one semitone, and that will take us to C sharp. So the key of D, if we follow the principles, we can use our tetrachords, or we can just count it straight, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So that's our first 4 notes. Counting from D, tone, tone, take us to F sharp, semitone, G. Then a tone separates G and A. Then tone takes us to C sharp, then semitone. And our scale in the key of D would be, must sound the same. If we played it all on white notes, it will sound a little bit weird, a little bit different. So this is how we'll play the D scale, ascending and descending. All right. Now, I am going to go through the other keys doing the same thing very quickly. Now, let's take a look at it. Going to the fifth, in this cycle of fifths that we're doing, we're going to the note that is at the fifth, that will be our new key, which is A. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Now, what did we notice from the first one that we did, which was G? We noticed that the note that changed was the note in the 7th degree of the scale, which is F. F now became F sharp. So when we're moving from C to G, everything comes back with the exception of F. So F comes back as F sharp. If we look from G now to the next one in the cycle, which is D, we'll see that everything comes back, including the F sharp. It comes back here, and a new sharp is added, which is C sharp. What we notice is that D now has 2 sharps. So let's follow it again. Everything came back from C to G, and a new note was added, which was F sharp. Everything came back from G to D, and a new sharp was added, which is C sharp. F sharp came back, and a new sharp added. So we don't have 1 sharp anymore. We have 2 sharps in the key of D. Now, if we should look at A and follow the same principle, what do you think will happen? How many sharps do you think we'll have? I know you get it. 3 sharps. And without even going to the keyboard, we can work this out mathematically. So what we'll know is that everything will come back, which includes the F sharp and the C. Let's put them. C sharp there. The F sharp will come back. And we'll add the new sharp where? In the 7th. So G now becomes a sharp, and that is our 3rd sharp. Let us test the theory, because if it don't sound right, it is not right. So we're looking now, we're going to play all the white notes except for C sharp, F sharp, and G sharp. So let's try that. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Again. Okay, good. Our next key, which will be E, then F, G, A, B, C, D, and E. So if we should follow the same principle, E should have 4 sharps. So everything will come back. The F will come back. The G sharp will come back. And the C sharp will come back. And where would our new sharp go? In the 7th scale, which is D. And that now we have 4 sharps. Let's test it. E. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. Let's look at the next one. In our cycle of fifths, in the 5th is B, so that will form our new key, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. We know that the 4 sharps that will come back. F sharp, G sharp, C sharp, and D sharp. And our new sharp will be in the 7th line, which is A sharp. So let's test it. Let's see if it's right. So we play B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B. Now, let's move to the next one, which will be our last one for today. And the 5th is F sharp. So we start with F sharp. F sharp, G, B, C, D, E, F sharp. Now remember, if you start with F sharp, you cannot finish with F. It must be F sharp. So, we know all the notes that will come back. We have 5 sharps that must come back. So C sharp will come back, D sharp will return, F sharp, already there, G sharp, and A sharp. But now we have to add an additional sharp, and that one is the one in the 7th degree, which is E sharp. Now remember, B has 5 sharps, F sharp has 6 sharps. So let's test it. And this is where it gets a little bit complicated, but I'm sure you'll be able to follow. So we start with F sharp. So it's F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp. Oops, we're in trouble because it now says E sharp. There's no black note beside E. So guess which note assumes the name E sharp? You got it because you are listening. A semitone above any note makes that note a sharp. So E sharp is the same thing as F. Then the final note, which is F sharp. Why it has to be E sharp and not F, you may ask? Simply because when you're writing music, you cannot have 2 notes assigned to F. One must be F and one must be F sharp. Now, you cannot have that space or that line having 2 names. So you must have E occupying that name. So the scale F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, same thing as F, F sharp. So let's play all the scales as we know it, and we go to a break. And follow carefully. C, no sharps or flats. G, 1 sharp. D, 2 sharps. A, 3 sharps. E, 4 sharps. B, 5 sharps. And F sharp, 6 sharps. And that will take us to our break.
An important message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. How to wash your hands. Firstly, wet your hands. Then apply some soap. Rub your hands palm to palm. Lather the backs of your hands. Scrub between your fingers. Rub the backs of fingers on the opposing palms. Then clean your thumbs. Make sure to wash your fingernails and fingertips. Rinse your hands. Then dry with a single-use towel. Use this towel to turn off the faucet. And now your hands are clean. When to wash your hands? After coughing or sneezing, after taking public transportation, when caring for the sick, before, during, and after you prepare and eat food, after toilet use, when hands are visibly dirty, after handling animals or animal waste. An important message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
All right. Now, let's recap everything that we just learned. We learned, number 1, that the semitone is the shortest distance between any 2 notes. And the semitone moving right or moving left, as long as it's the notes closest to that note, it's a semitone. We learned also that 2 semitones make 1 tone. And we learned also that if you move a semitone to the right, it's called a sharp. And the sharp looks like a number sign, like one of these. And if we move a semitone to the left, it's a flat. The flat looks like a lowercase b, but with a pointed tip. Now, we also learned that C sharp is the black note to the right of C. We learned that D flat is the black note to the left of D, which is the same thing as C sharp. So all the black notes is either a sharp or a flat. We also learned that because there's no black note to the right of E, F now is the same thing as E sharp, and vice versa. E is the same thing as F flat. And the same applies to B. C is the same thing as B sharp, and B is the same thing as C flat. We also learned about the cycle of fifths. We learned that the only major scale that has no sharps or flat is the C major scale. Beautiful. We learned also that between 1 and 2 of the scale, there's a tone. 2 and 3, tone. 3 and 4, semitone. 4 and 5, tone. 5 and 6, tone. 6 to 7, tone. From 7 to 8, semitone. So we can say tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Learn that. Or if you learned it by tetrachords, as I explained earlier, that would be fine also. Now, in our cycle of fifths, we learned that if we go, starting with C, to the 5th note, and we begin the scale on the 5th note, we learned that that scale, if we should apply the same principle, will cause us to change only 1 note in the scale, which is the 7th. whatever sits in the line of 7 is going to change to a sharp. So all the notes will come back and the 1 in the 7 will change. And what we'll find is that G has 1 sharp. The same thing happens in D. All the notes come back and D has 2 sharps because the first sharp came back as F and we added a new sharp in 7, which is C, and that makes it 2 sharps. A stand to reason that we'll have 3 sharps because both F and C from D will come back in A, F and C, and the new one will be in the 7th scale, which is G. Same thing happened with E, where we have C, F and G, C, F and G coming back, and a new sharp is added, D sharp, and that makes it 4 sharps. 5 sharps for B, 6 sharps for F sharp. And the same principle applies. So if we should play the scales up to that point, this is what we'll get. For C, no sharps or flats. Fifth in the scale, G, and we'll find 1 sharp. And according to the chart, that sharp will be F sharp. D has 2 sharps. So the F sharp will come back. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, new sharp, C sharp, then D. How we end where we start. And we reverse. Then we'll go to A, which A will have 3 sharps, C sharp, F sharp, and G sharp. So the 3 sharps will be C sharp, A, B, C sharp. Then we have D, E, then F sharp, G sharp, then A. In our scale, new scale, E, we have 4 sharps, which is F sharp, G sharp, C sharp, and D sharp. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. And we reverse. B, we have 5 sharps, which are all the black keys. So it's B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B sharp. And our final one we did for today, F sharp. So we have 6 sharps, which one note, which is the E sharp, is F acting as a black note, but it's E sharp. So it's F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, which is the same thing as F, and F sharp. So all those 7 scales that we have, we'll play them again. C, G, D, A, E, B, and F sharp. Now, next time we come, we're going to move on from F sharp and we're going to learn the flats. And in that way, we'll be able to play in all the keys. We'll be able to satisfy any singer when they come to us to play, because not everybody can play, sing in any key. And then we'll be able to change keys. For instance, when we see where music was made, music was made first in heaven. The unfortunate thing is that the chief musician became our chief enemy. And he was kicked out, and he is now on this earth, and he has contaminated everything that's godly. But music is intended to praise the Lord. Music is intended to lift our hearts, to connect with our Savior. Why I teach music, why I love music, is because in this way I can also show you how to enjoy doing what I do and praising God with our music. And our intention is that at the end of this, we'll have a platform that anyone that can learn music will be able to learn to play, at least from me, the piano. And with that said, I want to play this song. It's my favorite hymn because of the words. I'll play one verse, but you look back on the words and see how it appeals to you. So let us pray, and then I'll play that song. It's called Day by Day. So Father in heaven, I just want to thank you for this platform. Thank you, dear Lord, that you have given me the opportunity to share the little that I know with somebody. Lord, I am praying for that person, that boy, that girl, that man, that woman, that person that always wanted to play the piano or any other instrument. I'm asking you, just as you have given me the gift to do so, I'm asking you to send them the Holy Spirit just the same way, to help them to play and to praise your name. Thank you, dear Father, for opening up music to me that I can share it with everybody else. And I thank you for blessing that person that will learn from me. Thank you again. Bless us. We praise your name now. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.